The latter, if we talk statistically in this regard, the latter is amounted to 12% of the total GDP in the pre-COVID period, and it is expected to be 14%. But however, to take full advantage of this community, we need to somehow expand the discussion of the diaspora engagement. And we have to go beyond the part of the expenditure part of the remittances. This is probably the main reason why we have gathered here today to explore this wider scope of diaspora's impact and engagement in economic empowerment of the Republic of Kosovo. We're talking beyond remittance, not because remittances are less important in this regard, but that the potential of diaspora is, let's say, multidimensional and should be channeled more efficiently. On that note, Vigan, I want to start with you with the first question. Diaspora-led startups and established businesses have encouraged the inflow of remittances, but also investment, right? How do you see the role of diaspora entrepreneurs in startup community with a focus on ICT services? And maybe others, if they have something to add, we can jump in throughout the conversation.
Dear, thank you very much for the invitation. Distinguished guests, dear panelists. I believe that today's topic relates to the economic development of Kosovo. So it's a quite actual topic. Turning back to the impact of diaspora on economic development, I would like to say, dear, that we have some showcases of success stories from our diaspora residing in Switzerland and Germany. Therefore, the role of the current diaspora in the startup ecosystem is significant. We have to exploit the potentials that diaspora offers, not only in the configuration or context of remittances that make the 12% of the gross domestic product, but also on the know-how and the inflow of foreign direct investments, which is mostly related to mergers and acquisitions, technology, and investment on the human capital. Therefore, I believe that the prime focus should be to prepare a concrete strategy on what are the hot topics or hot sectors of Kosovo. And therefore, providing our diaspora with a concrete demand, what do we need from them and what do we offer in terms of return on investments? And then we can progress from that point on.
Thank you, Vigan. I think as an, let's say, a follow-up question, throughout, let's say, informal conversations and chats we have with entrepreneurs that either are diaspora-owned or managed by diaspora members, we all ask, and we always ask the same question, right? Why did you decide to invest in your business in Kosovo, and why people from diaspora should invest in Kosovo? Maybe Mr. Tali can follow up on that and give his opinion on this matter.
There's different reasons why diaspora wants to invest in Kosovo, correct? I'm born here, so it's simple reason.
Yeah.
I went to school here, so that's another simple reason, correct? I know so many people here. So that's from my side, it's a pretty simple answer, correct?
Yep.
The other parameter could be like try to invest here as a diaspora and try to generate profits. Of course, if you don't generate profits, nobody's going to come and invest. I mean, we love our country, we love our people, we love whatever it's here in Kosovo. But you know, if you're really looking for some serious investment, you have to generate profits. So when we go to generating profits, of course, the generating profits is going to affect the GDP as well in Kosovo, correct?
Yes.
So to do that, we have to look at what kind of investment strategies local government or central government is offering here in Kosovo. So that that space, it's lacking basically. The government tried to create some kind of groups and investment strategies for outsiders, but I never seen it being implemented right, correct? Previous governments had created some kind of business group in Germany, created a business group in North America, even in Australia, I believe. But there were never any strong connection and never the right strategies to do it.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe I want to ask the same question. I didn't know that side has a different microphone. So maybe I want to re-emphasize the same question also to the other two panelists, and then we follow up on other questions. I want to ask Mr. Eshica, is the role of diaspora on a different viewpoint from what Mr. Dish and Mr. Tali said, or do you have something to add upon it?
Thank you for the invitation, dear guests. Yes, I do agree what Mr. Disha said as well, but I would like just to add that diaspora can, when we mention diaspora, we always connect it to the remittances that they are providing to Kosovo. This should be changed, because the diaspora can play the role of economical attaches into the places where they are living. They should support ICT sector, but also other economical sectors in Kosovo in two directions. The first direction should be like the short term, like they should request their ICT services to be provided from Kosovo, because digital transformation of this sector can support this and everything can be remotely, as we are doing as Euro target for German-speaking countries. In addition to that, diaspora can support us also on the long term, being a kind of interconnection or a bridge between us and other let's say, companies, which they can provide us foreign direct investment here in Kosovo. So basically, what we are thinking is that diaspora can support us in short term and long term. And yes, they should work more on that, and not only thinking on remittances or only thinking on the incomes that they are providing to the economical sector in Kosovo by, let's say, purchasing real estates like flats or houses.
Yes.
Thank you, Diyar. To add to what my fellow panelists said so far, I completely agree with what has been said. What I think is important is that in addition to the benefits that diaspora businesses are bringing to the people here, financial benefits, improving the capital and workforce in the company by exposing people to work with a global environment. Something else that I believe diaspora could contribute to help is to improve the image of Kosovo that it has to other markets. At PCB, we work globally through a global network of more than 2,000 resellers worldwide. And one of the most common challenges that we have is that many people either have lack of knowledge or they have misguided knowledge about Kosovo and what could be provided here. So one of the first steps we have to do is to explain that, yes, Kosovo is a small country in South Europe, in Southeast Europe, but we have highly educated people who are competent and who can provide services worldwide. So in addition to, of course, this goes both ways from diaspora businesses, but the government that may help on this. But I believe if more diaspora businesses invest in Kosovo, eventually this is going to improve the image as well, that will contribute to even further development of the people and of the businesses here as well.
Thank you for your input. Throughout, let's say, the professional people being involved in either ICT sector, but also on the sectors with high potential on exports, diaspora-owned firms or firms being managed by diaspora members are often seen as first movers, right? This terminology that they not only bring money with themselves and, let's say, capital investment, but they also bring operational and technical know-hows, which somehow they spread around this information about their homeland also to their potential investors, potential buyers, and that. And knowing the story of Speaks in this regard, what is your experience on that? And do you guys think of yourself as first movers in the industry that you're currently operating?
Dior, that's a brilliant question. Basically, Speaks established itself in 2008 by Mr. Fikret Morati. It was the first movement because being a pioneer in the industry means you have to overcome a lot of hurdles, a lot of obstacles, such as institutional ones, labor ones. But with a lot of drive and passion, and also taking into consideration the comparative advantage that Kosovo has, the geography, the young labor force, the fiscal policies, made these hurdles to be overcome more easily. And now Speaks, meaning 12 years later, employs more than 1,500 employees and is present into 5 main cities of Kosovo. Therefore, the hurdles can be overcome if there's a concrete vision, if there's a clear strategic plan, and management of funds, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about something, or if others have to add upon this point of first movers being, let's say, pioneering in the industry or joining that new wave of development. Feel free, Mr. Rama, Mr. Rashiza, Mr. Tal.
I guess to add to what colleague said, of course, 3CIS started in 2008 as well. And the biggest challenge in 2008 was that finding the right talent at the time. I guess I'm speaking from my, from 3CIS perspective. We cover the major world telecoms. So getting the right talent to do what at the time was pretty difficult. So, but since everything changed, you have many universities, the curriculums change in schools. We were able a little bit to basically to influence even the, the way the universities start teaching the specifics. And so starting as you said, early movers, correct?
First movers, yes.
Early movers, first movers. The biggest challenge was, like, I would agree with you, is like to explain people that, people in Kosovo have the quality to do specific tasks. At the time we were involved with major telecoms like AT&T and Vodafone. We were, designing and implementing 3G and 4Gs for them. Kosovo didn't have any 3G, 4G at the time. We were still in 2Gs and Edge. So that was one of the biggest challenges for us, to explain world that we can do things out of Kosovo. Right. But things change, so it's
yeah. So
I think much better.
Yeah. So the originals, the pioneers of the industry, have to be also this lobbying party from where they come from, and let's say in a way to convince other potential buyers and investors that yes, we can do this and we can provide such a service or we can sell such a product.
Correct, that's correct. But it's not even investors. I mean, you have to convince your customers that you can do it before you even get to investors. You have to find the customer to do it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, dear, for the question. Yes, Diaspora played a good role for economical development, even before the war, during the war, and also supported Kosovo all these years. Yes, we are also another good example as EuroTarget, since the founder of this company is living in Germany, but they have invested in Kosovo because, according to his opinion, it's like it is now a patriotism to make a development of Kosovo through employing young generation here. One of these examples can be followed from other Kosovars living in diaspora, that they could bring their investment here in Kosovo, not only to make a short-term contracts on services, but also to think about, same as Mr. Disha mentioned about Speaks, and also Mr. Malusha, who founded EuroTarget, to think of investing here in Kosovo. So to make a kind of long-term economical development for the young generation as well. This is what I think.
There are two questions, two parts of your question. One that is related to the first movers and the impact in others that I'd like to further elaborate. It's always, of course, more difficult when you are one of the first movers, because you have, like Vigan mentioned, there are some challenges which may seem easy, the paperwork and government, but then you have to go through them, that you open the door for other people. For PCB, apart to all the operational issues, it has been because we were the first movers in the training development, specifically for the ISO industry, which is still one of the challenges, is that it's difficult for us to find people who have knowledge on the ISO standards and to be able to develop training and to work with this. So we knew it from the beginning that investing in Kosovo means that we will have to have quite a comprehensive onboarding program to prepare people to work in this industry, and, for example, to develop training courses that will be used worldwide. And in the early stages, the founders, one of them is Canadian, one of them is from Kosovo, Faton. He was one of the main reasons why the investment was in Kosovo. There were many options, and there were employees in other locations as well. We had in Cambodia a freelancer, we had in Barbados in different offices, but the one in Kosovo showed better results. That's why we are still operating here. But one of the main challenges is the change of culture, because when we invite people to work with us and to develop training, we want to expect the best from them, because that training material is going to be used by people who are too important for the material to be weak. So the changing culture that even though you're working from Kosovo, you're expected to deliver a product or a service that is competing with other players worldwide. But this is good when it happens because that it opens doors for other people. And in the case of PCB, because we work with many partners worldwide, we have had many cases when some of these partners were also interested to invest in Kosovo, because they saw the case study of PCB, that we can find competent people here. And of course, it goes without saying that because of the low cost structure, like Kutia said, it allows us to develop faster, so they want to replicate the same story. So it contributes even further to bring other people to see that, yes, Kosovo can work, and then we can do it as well.
Thank you, Mr. Rama. I want to continue our discussion on a very complementary topic that we have currently, let's say, touched upon. Kosovo will most likely remain an exporter of smart and educated people in the future, being that is our competitive advantage in some sort, right? We're providers of services, we do some product development in regards to the ICT sector. And brain drain is one of the biggest issues that companies operating in such sectors face. What is your opinion on that? And let's say, have you explored any ideas to tackle such challenge?
Brain drainage is quite an actuality in Kosovo. What Speaks has a tendency to do is promote knowledge spillover. What we basically do is hire experts from Switzerland and Germany, being diaspora ones, and also promote the local capacities of human capacities via trainings, being that on-job trainings or extracurricular trainings, offering decent labor conditions, not only salary-wise, but also social benefits, and making every employee feel part of the company, feel part of the family, is one of the main secrets, I believe, from Speaks, being personally involved there, is that basically promotes the corporate values. You become attached to them, and you progress from that point on. Therefore, our recommendation is that the private sector should upgrade their labor offerings for the youngsters, make the sectors convenient, not only salary-wise, but also for more long-term sustainable perspective, and also promote the sectors. Today, I'm talking about the business process outsourcing sector, an emerging sector, which emerged from the roots of ICT and now has become an independent sector that not only has a positive trade balance, but in terms of economic development, is creating the middle strata. So the middle social layer with the purchasing power parity. Yeah. And you have a difference there. You have triple the average salary that the Kosovo has. So to put it short, increase the standards as Fitim said, implement the ISO standards, being the most reputable ones, and that basically just promote the corporate values and try not only to convince them that you have the right tools for them, but make them part of your journey. Make the youngsters part of your journey, and then they will abide to you.
Yep, thank you. Mr. Tali, before, let's say, answering or following up on that, I know that a lot of ICT companies develop some sort of spin-off internal recruitment because not the job market or the, let's say, potential candidates that you guys want to join in the companies are not, let's say, fully professional adequate. So they have to go through some training sessions to be reprofessionalized, subject to your technical needs. And such workforce development usually ends up being people being professionalized and then after some years leaving out the company and resulting in a brain drain situation.
Sure, that's natural progression.
Yep.
Basically, you know, you get people, you train them, you get 2, 3, 4, 5 years from them, and then they're naturally supposed to move somewhere else because they need to progress in life. It's part of the, you know, what human beings are supposed to do to find something better, correct? So going back to the whole value, you hit it right, basically. We do in-house training. We cannot find the specific talent for specific technology we provide service on to. correct? So let's take it, and I agree with you, you know, that we have to make the, you know, life better for all our employees or our colleagues or our, you know, whoever is involved with our company. Sometimes you succeed, sometimes they see something else, and sometimes it's not only salaries. They want to just be challenged on something else. Our issues are different, basically, you know, that you said the brain moving away, moving out of the country, correct? You take people, you train them on 5G. Right now, we do 5G deployment for T-Mobile in US, correct? You cannot find those people. Not us in Kosovo, but, you know, even in Europe or even North America, you cannot find them. You train them, you get 2-3 years from them. That's a great thing. If they find something else to move on, good luck to them. So it's part of the evolution of the professions, correct?
It's inevitable, right?
Of course.
Actually, I do agree with both panelists. Yes, each company has to think about creating a culture of making each team member like to feel the spirit of the team, to be part of the family. We as EuroTarget, beyond that, we started also with a kind of digital transformation within company in order to be more or nearer to our employees. In addition to that, yes, there is still fluctuation within companies, because in general, what we have seen from our experiences, like the unemployment rate for, let's say, German-speaking youngers and also software developers is very low. Like, I can probably say less than 1%. And this makes them to find or to look for better opportunities. In this regard, I would really suggest and kindly request from the government to support us in this direction, and not only us, to support also youth generation, because we can see that with very short or small investment, we can increase our employment rate here in Kosovo. Like from our experience, we may think that even if there is 5 more times youngers who speaks German, or 5 more times of the software developers in Kosovo, they will still be employed. So why not invest in this direction? We have seen that exporting services abroad is like one of the best sectors for economical development, and this can be further continued with the support of the government.
Thank you.
What I think is that brain drain is not an immediate danger for this ICT sector where diaspora businesses have invested in Kosovo, because thankfully we live in a reality where we see that many of the businesses, including the businesses that are present here, provide great working conditions for their people. And if you make life better for everyone, including your salary, the culture, training, professional development, and access to do things that they wouldn't do otherwise, like access to traveling, business travel, anything that people may need, is generally they tend to be happy and they stay. And I'm pretty sure that many companies that are in the ICT sector, including these ones here, their staff members can leave whenever they want, but they still choose to stay, because they have a good salary, a good job that they like to stay. It's more the gap that I believe is more dangerous between companies in the ICT sector, especially those that are invested from diaspora businesses, from the local companies that rely on the local market, where there is a big gap. And of course, there we see a big brain drain. So yes, it can still be a risk, but there will always be a level of people who will want to move to try something else. And I believe this doesn't happen just in Kosovo, it happens in other countries. It's something that, as you said, is inevitable, so you cannot stop it. Some people will want to try new challenges, and that's okay. But as long as businesses will, I believe, try to follow the path that providing a good working environment with a good salary, access to professional development, and a good culture, this will improve the overall workforce and will provide a bit of a stop to the brain drain that is currently happening.
Thank you for your inputs. I want to shift a bit towards the transnational entrepreneurs, right? By definition, individuals that migrate, so transnational entrepreneurs, by definition, are individuals that migrate from one country to another, concurrently maintaining their business related linkage between two countries. My question in this regard is, what should public and private stakeholders, be that coming from government or private sectors, chambers of commerces, industry associations, do in this regard? And let's say, how to facilitate and help such transnational entrepreneurs be more integrated and, let's say, be more emphasized in this economy.
Okay, so we're not talking only about the context of diaspora now, huh?
No, we're not talking, so we're
general
shifting. So
broad,
I think it's a complementary definition or concept towards what we've talked about, but I think it's a pretty important point to touch upon.
It is, yeah, so our recommendation being as SPEAKS and as the Swiss Kosovo Chamber of Commerce is that promoting Kosovo as a nearshore destination for German-speaking countries, because we are specialized on that mostly, is one of the first things first. Why should a Swiss company or German company come to Kosovo? SPEAKS has managed to pave the way for them in terms of maintaining the regulation for GDPR, which is highly crucial for the EU companies, distinguishing them from the US companies, and basically promoting the institutional capacities. However, what can chambers do is rely on the success stories of the local companies from diaspora that have taken the risk to invest here, and then promote via institutional channels the Kosovo as a nearshore destination, as a potential nearshore destination. Add on that the prime factors, as I mentioned, the young population, 70% being under 35, then the fiscal policies, 10% corporate income tax, and basically the geography, the time zone. It's very convenient, it's very efficient, it's, call it in whatever sense you want, really productive for a German or a Swiss company to outsource its processes in Kosovo. SPEAKS, I just want to reveal a small detail, does 5G support, technical support, for one of the biggest telecommunication providers in Switzerland, Sunrise Communications. Therefore, there you have it, you have the success story. And now it's left up to the public institutions to do the rest, to do the laws, to do the regulations, to make the Swiss investor or other investor feel secured, feel insured. And then that will vice versa promote the horizontal FDIs, which is an entrepreneur in Germany or Switzerland will replicate its operations in Kosovo. That in turn will increase employment, increase the social benefits, increase the GDP, and there you have it. You have the domino effect. So it's all on the private, that's the cooperation, the triangle between the chambers, private sector, and the public institutions.
Thank you. Mr. Dali, something to add?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have good experience with any of the Chamber of Commerce or any of the institution in Kosovo. You know, but by the way, 3CIS is Kosovo company. It's not a U.S. company. Just to make sure it's registered here and it operates here with everything what's need to be operated with. So. Institutions has to get involved much closer with the private sector in this case, correct? But they don't. You know, we've been preaching this. We were talking to them for like since 2008. I mean, some legislators are coming together. You know, some things are changing, but we don't see enough. So now, two things: either they don't get it, or they are not interested to do it. So. That's my take. Same with Chamber of Commerce. We haven't seen anything positive coming from them, at least us as a 3CIS.
Yeah. So to follow up on our two fellow guests and speakers said, let's take a good baseline, a good success story, replicate it throughout the horizontal chain, and let's create a domino effect. Do you think that's a good approach towards, let's say, emphasizing or taking that and putting that on a spotlight for transnational entrepreneurs and phenomena?
Yes, and also I can say that a good role in this part can be played from the state, because so far in the last, let's say, 20 years, we had our economical attaches that with very low outcome, or let's say zero. Everything what was developed from the all companies that we are presenting here are on their own without the support of the state, which is wrong. Because, and it is even more challenging because image of Kosovo is not the one that we wanted. So besides our interventions, besides our good examples from bringing investment from diaspora to Kosovo, there should be a very good role played from the government. Means that they should start creating very good campaigns on this regard. Regarding Chamber of Commerce, yes, we have seen a lot of workshops, a lot of trainings. There are also a lot of meetings with diaspora companies. But yes, still the outcome of all these activities was not the one that we wanted. I would like just to mention one good example that we had we have a partnership with a German company, and that we have established a company here in Kosovo. And when he announced the information that there will be investment in Kosovo with a Kosovo company, like there will be a partnership, there were hundreds of people writing to him, why you're going to Kosovo. It's like the political situation is very dangerous, why you are going there, because image of Kosovo is not presenting the truth how it is now. So in this, the best support can be from the state, that they can support us on creating better image, not only or let's say individual good examples to be shown to diaspora.
Thank you.
What I think is that the overall ICT sector and export of services has been underestimated mainly by institutions in Kosovo, and not the sector itself, but the capacity or the potential of the sector that it could bring to the overall development in Kosovo. Because we are seeing that there is high potential for companies to export services in ICT, in services, in BPO, in many different services, because we have the capacity to do that. But I have to agree that there is a lack of support from the institutions to attract for more companies to bring here. From PCV's perspective, same, we never had any help from an institution or any chamber of commerce or anything like that, even though we were somewhat more advantaged that we don't rely on business from Kosovo, but getting help would make investing here more attractive. Because in a way we were lucky that, of course, one of the owners, Faton Aliu, he's from Kosovo, and there is, as it was said, there is some level of patriotism that we want to invest in here. But if you want to go to the next level to convince to others objectively that why Kosovo should be a place to invest, there needs to be some support. And support can come in different ways. It can come by supporting you to find the land, to have a better infrastructure, to facilitate more trainings. There we know that especially in the ICT sector, there are many different functions or jobs where there is a lack of resources in Kosovo, like in DevOps, in many different software development, and a bit more facilitation from the institutions would improve this so that it would not seem as dangerous to invest in Kosovo. Whereas for the different chambers, I believe, I'm not too familiar with them because, as I said, we did not get any help or anything, but I believe there's still something that could be done from this aspect by just having a vision that the ICT and export of services in Kosovo has a potential, so we have to support them better because this will indeed impact the economic growth.
Thank you. I think this is because we're running out of time. This is my last question, and it sort of wraps the whole discussion up. There is a feeling among people that, yes, there's a lot of money coming in, but there's few investments being established, especially from diaspora, putting their money in establishing business idea. And one thing that is, let's say, by default, is that we all know that diaspora can assist the development of Kosovo throughout business endeavors, throughout different business activities. What do you think, and where do you see such opportunities in Kosovo today and for the years to come?
So I will just make a short summary. The Swiss diaspora basically invest into real estate and consumable things for consumption.
Yep.
Real estate being that land, flats, apartments, and so on. Not necessarily being a productive sector. It does not employ a lot of people. We can showcase success stories. So here in the panel we have Threadsys, we have EverTarget, we have PCB, we have Speaks. If not, there is not a lot of trust on the public institutions to move things forward, then I encourage every diaspora young entrepreneur to showcase these success stories and to rely on statistics. If you have a positive trade balance on exports, then the movement should be there. Then join the movement, see what you can offer. As Fikret says, so the founder speaks, focus on the niche market. Offer something of a unique value proposition, and that progress. We cannot always not complain, but rely on the context that diaspora is not investing. No, they are investing plenty of money, but showcasing is another story. So being proactive to the public, and then taking a lot of different sorts of venture capital. The lack about Kosovo is that you have no investment banks. So a youngster from diaspora has either to be connected with a local partner here,
Yep.
or take loans from the banks, which have a significant interest rate for the beginning. But that's a different topic. I urge and encourage any young entrepreneur, being from diaspora, to connect with the Kosovar businessmen, venture capitalists, and to see means of cooperation, maybe by offering some of unique value propositions, some niches to these companies, and then paving the way through the market. Kosovo, by the way, offers tremendous potentials for every youngster out there. Therefore, it's one of the hot spots in Balkans to be, and we as Speak see a lot of potential in Kosovo.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, definitely ICT is the future of Kosovo. It's no doubt about it, correct? You have so many, young people, educated people. They know they have the right skills, so that's the future, I believe. Now you talked about investment banking. That's absolutely right. No investment banking at all. Basically, you have to take your house and whatever they do in the bank, you put it in as a to guarantee with your house or with your cars or with your family, whatever goods they have. So that's one of the biggest issues, really, investment banking here, I think, for the industry to progress much quicker. So.
Thank you, Mr. Talib.
Yes, I'm still coming back to what I said in the beginning. I would really kindly request from our diaspora not to invest in real estate, to invest on something which will be longer. This business, as it goes, probably will die in next 5-10 years. Mm-hmm. So why not to invest in something that will last much, much longer?
Yeah, so the sustainability clause of the... Right?
Yes, and which is even worse. We are getting remittances from diaspora. We are getting this investment from diaspora while we are not producing anything. Still, we are giving this money from diaspora to neighboring countries by purchasing products. This shouldn't be happening. What I would request from our government is to support youngers with, let's say, trainings by offering them free trainings on ICT sector, because this is, as the panelist from PCB mentioned, this is the future of Kosovo, since Kosovo has the youngest generation in Balkan and also in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rishis.
I completely agree that the future of Kosovo is ICT, and overall the export of services, BPO. My recommendation would not be totally focused in recommending diaspora to invest, because this is something already happening, and I believe it will continue to happen. We have many success stories that are proving itself that will attract other people to invest. What I foresee as something that we need to work more as Kosovo is to prepare, to expedite the process of preparing resources to fit the needs from coming diaspora, because we are a small country, a small population, and we have a big problem that many people are moving abroad, but we still need competent people and trained people, especially in the ICT sector. So we need more help to prepare people faster and better so they're competent to support the needs that will be coming from global clients, so that we do not, in a way, scare away the investors to go to somewhere else where they have more access to resources. Because one of the problems is that because of the limited resources, one of the main common ways is to continue increasing salaries of those that are competent. And eventually this is a cycle that eventually, if we continue like this, we're not going to be that competitive from the cost structure compared to other countries. So we have to urgently be more aggressive when it comes to preparing people, providing training courses, providing professional development pathways, so we have more access to resources, and that's when we can ask more diaspora to invest. It doesn't have to be just in the younger generation, even though we know that this is the main talent, but also providing interesting career changes from people who may have not considered, let's say, ICT as one of their careers, but providing a facilitated way so they can now consider ICT, because I believe this is the future.
Thank you. I want to thank you again for all the valuable inputs and your availability to be here today. I want to thank all the guests here. I hereby conclude this discussion and hope to see you another time.
Thank you to all our panelists. It was a very interesting discussion on the impact of diaspora's businesses in Kosovo's GDP. We're going to continue with brain drain or brain gain. Also a very interesting one presented by Mr. Alexander Prelevich, or as he's known by everyone, Aca. Welcome.
Thank you. Oh, okay. Where is it? No. No. Don't leave, come back. It's going to be a very interesting presentation. If it starts. Nothing is happening.
I don't know, maybe from the upstairs I need to show it. Just
Okay.
You can talk something about Montenegro.
No, I can tell you some facts about myself and about organization which I'm representing. My name is Alexander Prelevich, and I'm president of Montenegrin IT cluster. Today, I'm going to present you some very disappointing facts about our region. Disappointing because we are losing young, smart, very well-educated people, and we are losing biological substance. And the facts which I'm going to present to you today, I expect to see your long faces when I'm going to present to you what we are facing at this moment. But at the end of my presentation, I hope that I'm going to see some smiles, because I'm also going to present some kind of part of solution. Not full solution, but part of solution of that very, very important, in my opinion, most important issue in our region. But now here it is. Well, I'm going to present to you brain drain versus brain gain. what is, okay, I told you already who am I, and this is definition of brain drain. Brain drain actually is not a thing which was invented 2 days ago or 2 months ago or 200 years ago. It was always with us. Always the best minds were leaving their countries in search for better positions, for better life, for better everything. Now we are living in a region which has very bright minds, but we are not offering the best solutions, the best life to that best minds we have here. This is what causes the brain drain. This is some kind of definitions. The legislation. Legislation is something which is, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. And the legislation is state-owned part of that problem. Okay. Okay. The legislation is the state-owned part of that issue, of that problem. If our legislative bodies are responsible and taking into consideration all the issues we are facing, then we will have much better laws than we have at this moment. We are going to approach to EU and we are going to accept all the EU laws about not only the brain drain issue, but we are going to accept all the EU rules and everything. So that cause is going to vanish. We are not going to face that cause anymore in, let's say, 5 or 10 years from now. But 5 or 10 years from now means that we are going to lose so many quality people, so many quality minds are going to invest their minds in some other countries, in some other cultures, and we are going to lose our biological material, our region. I'm not talking only about Kosovo or Montenegro or something like that, but I'm speaking about our whole region, Western Balkans. Another cause is education. But this is some kind of, how to say that, we have to catch our tail, because state have to invest in education, to raise the level of education. So you don't have to go abroad to take a high level of education. You don't have to go to Oxford to be a good economist or to London School of Economics. If you can have that in Pristina or in Prizren or in Tirana or in Podgorica. But state needs, first of all, to recognize the issue and then to invest some money in that. I don't think that our states are recognizing that issue of brain drain. Third cause, and which is maybe most important cause at this moment, is motivation. Motivation means not only salary. Motivation means quality of life. And I think, but I'm 58 years old, I won't tell you how Vjolca is old, but we are generation. So, from my point of view, we are living in the best region in the world. The quality of life is not only salary. If you are going to sell your knowledge, sell your qualities in Germany, then you are going to earn more money. But you are going to see gray sky 9 months a year. Here, you are going to enjoy nice life in coffee shops with the wonderful weather for 9 months a year. It's another different quality of life. When they come here, they respect our quality of life, they respect our beautiful countries, we do not. We respect only salary. You are going to earn here, for example, 1,000 of something per month. In Germany, you are going to earn, for same business, you are going to earn 2,500 to 3,000 per month. But first of all, you are going to spend much more money on living costs, and then your quality of life, which is a very important thing, is completely different. It's lower than here for, I don't know, 10 times or something like that. That's why the digital nomads likes our countries. That's why digital nomads are coming to Kosovo, Albania, Montenegro, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and that digital nomads are coming from that countries. But no, at this moment, we are selling our brains for a very cheap price. This is the fact. This is not mambo jumbo. This is the fact. Our region is the region which is mostly affected by the brain drain in Europe at this moment. We are losing so many very good people, very prospective people, that we cannot afford to lose. Because who's going to stay to work here? Who's going to create future for you youngsters? Not me. Not me. I have created my future. I have created future for my kids, but somebody has to create the future for you and for your kids. And if everybody who has something in his head leave our region, who is going to create that? We are going to buy the solutions created by our people, but created from another countries, and that is not the best thing we can do. Sorry? Obviously, again, we have some technical issues. I would like to move to next slide. Can you just move me? Ah, okay, great. Thank you. Okay, this is the first slide in which I expect to cause a long face on your faces. Look at this. This is 3 billion euros a year. This is our small region, and this is how much money we are losing. Only, remember this, this is not considering every expenses, only expenses spent in education. For example, average cost of one high school graduate in our region is 25,000 euros. We are giving it for 0 euros to another countries. 3 billion euros a year. Look at the figures. And look at how Kosovo is big. Kosovo is a very significant country in this. And Montenegro is small anyway, but we are very proud to be small on this chart. And I will show you why. Serbia is losing almost 1 billion a year. Serbia is losing a city of size of Prizren or Zrenjanin a year. 50,000 very well-educated people are leaving Serbia every year. Can you imagine that? One Prizren just went out every year. Very well-educated Prizren. This is not good. And as you can see, also North Macedonia has similar problem. Albania is much better. This is for 2018. And this is not some mumbo-jumbo figures. This is Western Balkans Democratic Initiative financed by some kind of funding from Great Britain. And this is per capita. Every year, Montenegro is losing 117 euros per capita. Why? Only by investing in somebody who is going to live and to invest his knowledge, our money, this is our money, we are all taxpayers, we are all paying for that education, and they are going to invest their knowledge for which we have paid in some other country. Germany, most of that is Germany, about some kind of 80% is living for Germany. And now something which should cause very long face for every Kosovar. Look at these figures. This is percentage of GDP loss per annum only caused by brain drain. Can you believe that Kosovo is losing 8% of the official GDP, which is, I think, 3.6 billion euros per year, only through the brain drain? Young Kosovars are leaving Kosovo in so many numbers that it counts up to 8%. And we are talking only about very well-educated, highly educated persons. I'm not taking in consideration drivers. I'm not taking in consideration physical workers and something of that. These are the people which cost this country 25,000 euros per education, and they are taking that 25,000 euros in their brains, and they are giving that 25 Kosovar euros to some another country. So we can talk whatever we want. We can imagine some very nice future, but the best of the best from our countries are leaving. They are not here. Simply, they have spent 8% of the GDP and they have left the country. And you, and you, and you, everybody have paid for that. This is not fair. What are the solutions? Always, state is the most important player in solutions in this kind of affairs. State have, first of all, to recognize this as a very, very important issue. Maybe the most important issue which we are facing at the moment, because other issues are solvable on the short range. This issue must be solved on a long range, because it cannot be solved in 2 or 3 years or something like that, because that issue was created 20 or 30 times ago and was gaining strength every year. It was stronger, stronger, and stronger every year. This is some kind of create better opportunities or, I don't know, open more institutes for higher education. That's everything of that is a very nice story, but the first thing, which is the most important thing, is that state must recognize this problem as one of the most important issues in developing process. these are the facts which I have neglected in this presentation, in these pie charts. So that 8%, let me just go back, that 8% for Kosovo are with complete neglection of, for example, lower skilled labor force. This takes in consideration only highly educated, very well skilled persons. So take this in consideration when you think about this percentage. And also take in consideration figure for Montenegro. It's only 1.69%. Somebody will tell that, okay, we are a lazy nation and we don't like to work. That is not the case. We had it about 4% just 8 years ago. So these are the neglected facts. So I didn't only neglect labor immigration without high capacities and qualities. I have neglected the youngest educated abroad. Somebody is investing in them. It doesn't have to be a state, but it can be parents, cousins, I don't know, some fundings and everything, but still that money is coming from our countries, from our pockets. They are always, in 90%, they are staying to live in the countries in which they are educated. Most of them stays to live in London if they finish their school in London or in Italy. Even if they don't work in their profession, even if they work on gas stations, but they still want to stay there. This is the issue. Also, now we are very fast. Okay. Why are we on 1.69%? We have been on 4.35 or something like that, just 8 years ago. 8 years ago, we have started one very, very important program in Montenegro. Our government recognized that we are losing almost 200 million euros from our budget only by investing in educational process of youngsters which are leaving the country. So we have started one program locally in Montenegro, which we call the best. Of course, we are Montenegrins. Everything has to be at least the best, yeah? And that program was, it's not so bright or smart or so, it's not some kind of invention, it's not something which nobody thought before about. That program is actually something which is common thinking, common knowledge. If you want to think about how to stop all that bright, nice young people to leave your country and to spend your money away, then it's basically quite easy to come to that solution. 8 years ago, in 2013, our government decided to invest money to stop brain drain. And investment, Montenegro is a very small country, as you know, even Kosovo is bigger, and investment per annum is only 10 million euros. And our spendings, our losses in brain drain in 2013 was between 120 million and 140 million. And now it's 70 million. So I think that it's smart investment, yeah? If you are gaining something like 7 times more than you invest, I will start that kind of business tomorrow, yeah? I suppose that everybody of you will start that kind of business 7 times. Lazarot. It's good, yeah? What we have done, it wasn't even so expensive thing to do. We have created, we as the IT community from Montenegro, we have created just that. Online connection between employers database and database of unemployed Bologna graduates. That's what we are missing. We don't have it in the region. We have so many different registers. To speed up? Okay. We have so many different registers which are not connected and so on and on. Basically, what we have done, we have created a portal, matchmaking platform, portal, which connects demands and needs. It's not so easy thing to do, but it's not very heavy task. It's something which any IT company can finish in some half a year or something like that. And as a result, what we have? Reducing brain drain for 4.2 of GDP to 1.69 in 8 years. Let me remind you again that today Kosovo is losing 8% of GDP on brain drain only on highly educated and very well skilled persons. Only from Kosovo education system. I'm not taking in consideration those of you which have finished in Italy or Albania or Montenegro or wherever. Only in Kosovar educational system. 8% is very much. So basically, I had to speed up the process, so if you have any questions, please hit now or don't hit. I can have coffee, yeah? Yeah, okay, okay, I will be here. I will be mingling here, so approach to me whenever you want. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ota, for coming and for delivering that lovely presentation.
I'm going to jump now.
Yes, jump. Next, we have the future of e-commerce that will be delivered from the founder and CEO of Nerdy Creative, Ms. Vjosa Shala Sahite. We will be back in 1 minute until she finalizes the presentation. Thank you.
First of all, thanks all for choosing this topic and being part of the session. I am Vjosa Shadia Sahiti, CEO at Nerdy Creative, a company that helps clients digitalizing their products and building their online presence. So today we'll be talking about the future of e-commerce and most importantly, how can we benefit from it as a new seller, as a store that wants to go online. So as an IT person, I believe data, and that's why in order to prepare this presentation, I have made some researches, and this is the methodology that I used for this presentation. It's based on data, and data that was conducted from e-commerce platforms such as Shopify, WooCommerce, Magenta, Shopwire, Amazon, and other e-commerce platforms. Also on the researches that were conducted by organizations such as World Trade Organization, Deloitte, Google, IBM. Also, we took data from PayPal and FedEx as shipping and payment gateways. So we know how is the general state of e-commerce in general. So what is e-commerce, and why did I choose this topic today for you? E-commerce is the only thing that has a benefit from a pandemic. This is really interesting since if we see the graph that we have in the background, it has always been growing since the presence, and in 2009, it was in a solid state. But after a while, it kept growing organically. People were going to buy online. But during the pandemic, it was 10 years growth only in 3 months. And this is as a fact of pandemic and people going to buy online. During this time, we had 150 million new users going to stores and buying online for the first time. And 50% of them told that they will be continuing to buy online even after the pandemic is gone. This is quite huge, and how can we benefit from it? How can we make it work on our advantage? So first of the things that I want to discuss is how can you work with your customers? How can you make them want you online? If you're starting your business online and you didn't have a store before, that's quite challenging. But if you had a physical store, that's even more as a challenge. After pandemic, people now are used, even though we are still in a pandemic phase, but it's more quiet now, and people, the stores are opening, the physical contact is now not forbidden as it was before. So one of the things that people and the customers, your customers now are used, is the accessibility. They don't care if you only sell on Facebook or if you have your online store. They want to access you from every sales channel that they use. And this is one of the main things that you should have in mind. Also is the easy to use. Now, with the biggest players like Walmart or other competitors entering the market, is it a standard that e-commerce should be accessible, easy to use, and also fast? What I mean by fast is that only 3 seconds a user wastes on your store before they drop it. So it should be loading in less than 3 seconds. Can we go, please, to the next slide? It's not working. Okay, so we see that 93% of users drop your stores if it takes more than 3 seconds to load. And this is really challenging with the mobile development and mobile-first stores, because 50% of the users are now shopping from mobile. In our everyday life, even in here, more than 90% or even larger number of percentage are shopping or using mobile phones. And more than 50% of your store users are from mobile. And achieving this less than 3 seconds of load time is really challenging. Before this slide, we saw that it was the diverse of online purchasing. So people were, it was a survey that told that people will continue using. If you see this number, there are more than 50%, all of them. So this is the reason why people are buying online and why will they continue to buy online. 63% told that direct home delivery is one of the main things that they shop online. But also is because of cheaper prices and because they are more likely to shop more if they are in the online store than in a physical store. And how this changed the marketing, because part of the e-commerce and even your real store, the most important parts is the marketing. How did that change? In the beginning of 2020, it was less than $1, so 0.75 to get a click on Facebook. But during the time, it changed to even 100% raise, and now we are at $1 for a click. So this changed a lot of things in the way we do marketing. And as I said, with a lot of big players entering the online store market, such as Walmart, they have the money and they have the resources to do the marketing. And how can you beat them? In order to beat them, you have to have an omni-channel strategy. And by omni-channel strategy, I mentioned before that you should be on all channels. Unfortunately, this is not something that you can do. There are a lot of sales channels, and you cannot be on all of them. You have to target and do some research where the customers that you see as potential clients purchase. So where they buy, in which channel. If you see that they are buying on Facebook, then you should go for it. If you see that your customers are buying on Instagram or only on Amazon, that you should go and connect your store with it. The most important thing is to have an online store by yourself, so in your domain, because that affects on how people see your brand. Now we see that a lot of stores are only entering one sales channel, and it's not good because, as you see, we talked about mobile shopping, and while people are on mobiles, most of them use social media. So why is important to be on all channels is because if you want to do the social shopping, you have to target them while they are doing what they want. So if they are searching on Facebook or they are navigating on their social platform that they like, you should be there. You should advertise there, and not just advertise. You should also be you should also be there with the shopping. We saw that Shopify, WooCommerce, and all made it really easy to check out from the social media, and this is the future. People will not go and buy from your store. They will buy from their sales channel, what they like. So if they are using, for example, LinkedIn, you should also target the people in there, even though they cannot buy from there. Make it really easy and fast to buy from everywhere. That's what we talked a little bit earlier. So your store has to have an experience that they don't want to drop. Like if they have less than 3 seconds for every page. It will be tempting to them to go to checkout and to see how things go. One of the main things of the future of shopping and the post-pandemic thing is the virtual. We conducted a research together with Shopify and saw that it was actually the return that killed the new business. So people before were used to go to a store, saw the size of the product, and see if that fits in their home or if that fits for them, and buy it. But when you purchase online, you don't have a visual aspect of how would that look in your home. It can be too large, it can be too small. So that's why you have to integrate AR. The AR is the new thing for Shopify and for all the e-commerce platforms. You have to integrate that in your store. There is a great support, so you have to, the clients have to see how it really looks, and that relates with the 8th point. So you have to really, even if you're not at a state that you can afford having augmented or virtual reality in your store, since it's for larger players, you can have videos. So you can let them see in one click how it looks, your product. Even add other products to compare it. So for example, if I sell a laptop or a lamp, I want to put something there that they know how the size of it, and they can compare how much larger, how it looks with the other things. And the automate return. So you have to always be cautious what is the return rate of your product, because it's important, and this is killing the businesses. Because if you ship a product, even though the clients pay for the shipping, it will cost you more than the shipping. It will cost you the people that work for you, or if you don't have a warehouse having, as part of drop shipping, it will cost you having a lot of products that you don't know what to do with it, and you don't know if they will be purchased or when. And offer click and collect. This is like very different if we're talking about the slide when we have the reasons why people purchase online. 63% of them said that they wanted their order to be shipped to their home, and this is why they are using the e-commerce and shopping online. But actually, when people were asked what is the feature that you want to do, your store wants to have, all of them said that they want to click and collect. Because sometimes you're in a hurry, you want to buy something online because it has a discount, or you saw it there and you like it, but you want to have faster than the shipping that they have. And this is for locals, so if you have a local store, you should want to have a click and collect option. And there are, in Canada, there are now places where you, even if you don't have a physical store, you can send your products and people can collect it from there. And this is like one of the most controversial features, but that people want to have, and it can affect your e-commerce. And think about building your brand. With more than half of the e-commerce happening in marketplaces like eBay, Amazon, you cannot, where the search there is unbranded. So if you go there, you cannot say that I want to buy from Nerdy Creative Store. You only go there and find you have a problem, so you want to buy something, to purchase something, and you say, I want to buy it, but you don't care from who you buy it. You just choose the option that it suits you, that has the best product. And people maybe are buying from your store, but they don't know you as a brand. And building a brand has never been more important and more and harder, because building a brand, it makes you stand above the competition. we said that Walmart entered the industry of e-commerce during the pandemic. But how can you compete with Walmart? Not if you're an unbranded store and go for it and sell as many as you can. You have to build a brand. You have to have your own store, and this is like part of the branding. It always should be your online store. And also send the products, when people buy from you, send the products branded. And one of the things that made e-commerce really interesting during this phase of the pandemic, it was that it changed the way the e-commerce is perceived. Before it was cosmetics, sports, the categories that were most selling, or even the clothes line. But now, guess what? It's food, so it's groceries. Everyone, during pandemic, it has a panic that will run out of groceries. So we went online and start buying them online and found out that it actually is really easy and it saves us a lot of time. You can actually read the ingredients. In the market, you cannot go and stay like for a half an hour reading an ingredient, or the ingredient list is so small that you cannot even see it. In the online work, that is not, and a lot of people are choosing now online to do the groceries. This is, these surveys and researches are in a global level, because we know in Kosovo yet that is not implemented. And this is some of the biggest players in terms of marketplaces and how they generated in 2019, which was even before the pandemic started. So we see that even with these numbers, only 70% of the sales are done online. So there is a lot of potential, and there is yet a lot of opportunity for you to go online and sell your products. Since it's generally known that by 2025, it will be nearly 50% of the shopping that will be online. As a new business, I want to start a store. Where should I start? You should research for the platforms. You should research what different e-commerce platforms offer. So if you're going to have an omni-channel, so be on all sales channel, maybe you want to see someone that already provides it, not go and implement after you start using. If you want to, you should you should search for someone that is mobile first, so you don't have to worry about that part. Also with the integration of the social media. And most importantly, you should see the platform that generates reports. Even this, in short terms, it doesn't give a value. In the long term, you'll see what your customers are doing and start doing business in that part and finding the right partner. This is like the key point of the starting a new business. People at Shopify, WooCommerce, Magenta made it really easy for you to start an online store. But that is so generic. You cannot build a brand. You cannot be different. You'll be like, if 10 people decided to start an online store, they will have the same theme, the same features. But you want to be different. So when users enter your store, they see that, I know this brand, I remember. And this is by finding the right technical partner, so they can do this modification to you. Sometimes even the modifications are provided by the platform, but for a thing that will take you 2 weeks to be completed, it will be only 2 hours of the skilled technical partner. So it's worth paying because you'll be saving a lot of time, and that can be really that can be really good in the part when everything is so dynamic and changing really fast. And also online marketing, because part of the pandemics, before it was television, newspaper, billboards, even some online marketing, but now the marketing is going all online. And what are the key players on the e-commerce platforms are the ones that were already there when the pandemic happens. So we don't have to wait for another wave of pandemics, but we can start now, and when the pandemics or another things happen that we didn't plan, because we didn't plan the pandemics. So when other things happen, we're already there and will be prepared. Why the players that were in the market were more successful than the other ones is because they didn't have to shift. So they didn't have to change the way that they work. They were already there, and when the customers came, they were already there and they were expecting the customers. This is my presentation. Thanks a lot. Hope that some of you will potentially start a new store, or if you were thinking of it. And the last thing that I want to say is that this is my presentation for the future of e-commerce, but most importantly, the future is e-commerce. If someone has a question or something that I can help with, I'll be here to answer. Okay, I think I was even so clear, or you didn't understand me a lot. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Shalia. Next, we have the final topic for this edition, the organization Healthy Check, which is going to be delivered by Mr. Driton Beytullahu, the founder of the Be Consulted company. So please welcome Mr. Beytullahu.
One, two, okay. Okay, thank you very much. Without losing time, we will start with the presentation related to the organization Health Check. And what is important to mention before we start the presentation is that how this idea came to life. So mostly when we deal with the client requirement as a management consultant, we go to the organization by asking, what is your need? What do you want from me to be solved in your organization? What support do you want from me? So they start with some information like, I need this part of management, I need this training, I need this support, but still somehow there might be some risk in terms of forgetting what is most important for the organization. So the idea was to close this gap by creating the software which will generate those indicators which help even client, even the consultant part. So we came with conclusion to create the product which is called Organization Health Check, which is similar to the health check that we do as an individual, right? Because, for example, you feel sick and you have some pain in some hand or somewhere in your body, but you don't know what it caused that pain. So you go to the doctor and ask for his consultancy, for his input. So when you do so, the doctor requests that you do some blood analysis, right? So with the blood analysis, you know exactly where, you might know exactly where the possible risk or possible problem may come from, and you proceed with the further instruction from the doctor. Okay, I'm trying to change the slides. Can you please check the... So what is this product? This product is similar to the health check that we do as an individual, but it has to do with the business aspects. Which aspect? Organization roles, team communication, performance evaluation. We have also covered the other management system standards if they want to check the organization, how are they compliant to those requirements. So we came up to create a product which is online, and through the tools and indicators that they perform in evaluating their organization, they will create and generate the dashboard, which they will have it like a 24/7 in their pocket by seeing the health of the organization. So who wouldn't like to have their organization health check in their phone? Meaning that knowing where the team are lacking in communication, where the barriers of communication are happening in company. So as we move on, this product tends to solve the issue related to the organization health check. Can you move, please? This product is created in an online platform, as we mentioned, and it is compatible with all platforms and technologies. So it uses the interface of all of technology, which you can use them as a dashboard for presentation or presenting the result to the management or to the meeting of the management. So you can do the navigation or check the indicators where your performance is less, where your performance needs attention. Next, please. So as I mentioned, the assessment is based on the organization orientation, roles and responsibility, coordination and control, leadership, innovation, organization capabilities, and motivation and work environment. So this dashboard offers the bigger picture of the organization health in the real time, meaning that you will know through those KPIs the exact performance for each indicators, either in a business strategy, either in a team effectiveness, either in other aspects that company needs to do the evaluation. Next, please. So this is how the application looks like, and it has a dashboard where you can compare the situation from a previous evaluation with the current evaluation. And the idea of business case is that with this application you can create a story, or you can create a picture how is your organization performance in terms of business strategy and business objectives. Also, you have an ability to check and compare the results between the team, between the location and between other units or departments, and as well as to use it as a platform or dashboard where you can evaluate or have a question to initiate a discussion with the team. For example, why we lack in this performance and why what we need to improve. Next, please. So the features of this application are SWOT analysis included in the evaluation, how motivating is your organization, continuing with what does team needs to be improved or to improve in their performance, evaluation regarding the aspects, is it a learning organization? Do our company or culture provide the continuous learning approach? Strategic plan, assessment of team efficiency, what are the leadership competences, etc., etc. So the features of this product that business might benefit even individual companies are that it provides more than 250 KPIs. It's a customizable and dynamic dashboard where you can change what indicators you want to show or to see in that window. And you have a comparison performance in terms of team, location, and a specific subject like a questionnaire that you delivered to evaluate the performance. Next, please. Next. So how it works? Mainly the application is based on the questionnaire, which are recorded or uploaded in the platform. And those questionnaires are sent to the teams by taking in consideration the organization structure. What does that mean? In order to have a proper results without the team resisting or explaining the real situation, those questionnaires are confident, meaning that when us as a consultancy company provide this evaluation, surveys are sent to the employees, but they don't have to write the names in order to save their privacy and help them feel free to evaluate the company in itself. So it's somehow compared to 360-degree evaluation of companies, where each of employee or top management evaluate each other, and by evaluating each other, they evaluate the company as well. So when the questionnaires are distributed, the results are automatically generated to the database, and you can see the results on the dashboard. So the importance of this, or what you can proceed further, is that with those results, you can have details based on which you can initiate a discussion with your team. By taking those indicators, for example, why we think that organization is not motivated, why our team are not communicating with each other, what we should do to improve our SWOT analysis, what we should do to improve our performance in overall. So the outcome of these results, again, it tends to have the three main approaches or three main contributions for the company's performance. By comparing the results of the organization based on industry best practices, by comparing results between the teams, location, etc., and by having something to start the discussion. Meaning that if we organize a weekly meeting or monthly meeting, we'll have an output results to discuss on a meeting, for example, for the low performance rather than we set as a KPI. Next, please. Next. Okay, so this is the process. Next, please, one more. Okay, one more, please. So how this product is offered to the audience, it's based on the customer's needs. It can be provided through the, as a service, through our consulting company. It can be provided as well as a service with some additional features, which are the pulse survey that are integrated, meaning that except this organization performance or health check, you have the possibility to initiate an ad hoc questionnaires to the organization. For example, do you want to do you agree to have a specific case rather than this or rather than that, and gain the ad hoc results to the company without having to sit on the meeting or calling everyone in one room. Also, it can be served or equipped as a product for our organization, which we support the transfer or implementation in the client's infrastructure and integrate with the infrastructure that they have. And as well, we can integrate with other applications as well, which means that if the company possesses some ERP or CRM application, we can integrate it easily in that platform, because the background of the application is SQL, MySQL, and front end is HTML, Laravel, build it as a product. Next, please. So this is all related to the application. But again, the idea of this application served two purposes. One was that for me as a consultant, when I go to the clients to understand the real situation, as a doctor understand our situation, how we are and how we feel, and what are some concerns that are related to our health. And with this initiating point, it was easier for me as a consultant to know the right issues of the client. And then we selected the most important aspects that we want to cover, and we discussed with the organization how we can improve or provide concrete consultancy services related to the needs of the client. And another one is to help the market to have a tool to test their organization health without having to call or involve any other companies for doing a research. Because the research company, not that they don't possess the tools or knowledge, but they don't know the organization context. So it's easier for everyone to have their own product to do a blood test, like we do for other tests in our daily life. So this is related to my product that is dedicated for the wider industries, regardless the industry and business type. And till now, we managed to implement in more than 12 companies this approach, where they have the opportunity to evaluate their health, and as well as it was sold to more than 10 companies abroad the country. So this is all regarding the presentation. If anyone has any question, I will be happy to answer. If not, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Beytullahu. We have slowly come to the end of the topics that we have prepared for this year's COSICT. So I would like to thank you all for joining us. Apparently we're having some trouble with the streaming. So again, I would like to thank you all for joining us here at ITP Prizren. Thank you to our sponsors that helped us make this happen. And thank you for all your support during these years. It's because of you that this festival is becoming bigger and better by every year that we leave behind. Don't forget the Counter-Strike Global Offensive tournament that we have at 1 o'clock. And stay safe. Thank you all.